Welcome to Coffee Break. Thoughtful conversations for a busy world. Let's begin. Picture this, right? You're walking down a familiar city block. Maybe it's a neighborhood you've lived in for years, and you see that a construction crew has just poured a fresh, perfectly smooth square of wet cement.
Well, I know exactly where this is going.
Right. It's for a new sidewalk. It's roped off. It's pristine. I mean, it hasn't been touched by a single shoe or a stray leaf. Nothing.
Just a perfect blank slate.
Exactly. So what is the immediate, almost like involuntary urge that bubbles up in your brain?
You want to ruin it.
Well, yeah. You want to pick up a twig or, take out your house keys and carve your initials right into the center of it.
Yeah, it's a completely universal feeling.
Or think about if you're walking along an empty shoreline at low tide, you look back at the trail of footprints you've left in the wet sand.
Right.
And there is this strange, quiet satisfaction in seeing the physical proof of your passage. Even though you know the water is going to wash it completely flat in like a matter of hours.
Yeah, it's a biological impulse almost.
We just have this deep, almost compulsive obsession with leaving proof that we were here. We demand that the physical environment reflect back to us the reality of our own existence.
Which is an impulse that transcends culture and age and, era. I mean, we see handprints blown in pigment onto the walls of caves in Lascaux from tens of thousands of years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is fundamentally the exact same impulse as a teenager carving their name into a park bench today.
That is wild to think about.
It really is. It is the human brain demanding to be witnessed by the world around it.
Which brings us to the core of what we are unpacking today. So for you, the listener tuning into this deep dive, we are pulling apart a concept that touches, honestly, every single thing you do.
Every day?
Yeah, every single day. The insights today are drawn from the central themes of a really fascinating piece titled The Fear of Fading into Oblivion: Why You're Terrified of Being Forgotten.
It's a heavy title.
It is. But our mission today is to figure out why this urge to leave a mark isn't just a quirky human habit. We want to show how it's actually the source of a massive amount of the baseline anxiety you carry around with you.
That anxiety is exhausting.
Totally exhausting. We're going to examine how trying to force a legacy onto a world that refuses to stand still is just draining you. And ultimately, we want to flip the script entirely.
That's the best part.
Yeah. We're going to look at the profound, genuine freedom that actually comes from embracing your own insignificance.
I love that. And, for a curious learner, someone who's always trying to absorb more and grow and be more, this deep dive is going to completely reframe the pressure you put on yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the pressure we put on ourselves to translate our internal growth into some kind of external permanence is just immense.
It's crushing.
Right. And dismantling that pressure requires looking at the actual mechanics of why we are so afraid of fading away.
Okay, let's unpack this right at the mechanics of the fear itself. Because the phrasing in our source material, it really doesn't pull any punches.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't call this the mild disappointment of not being remembered.
Right.
It uses the word terrified. It frames the fear of fading into oblivion as a terror.
A terror, yeah.
Why that specific visceral intensity? I mean, we fear a lot of things. We fear failure, rejection, spiders. But terror implies this primal existential panic.
What's fascinating here is that the intensity of the word terror is actually necessary.
Okay.
Because oblivion represents a cognitive paradox that the human brain is simply not equipped to process.
A paradox. How so?
Well, when we talk about the fear of oblivion, we really have to separate it from the biological fear of dying.
Oh, interesting. So they aren't the same thing.
Not at all. Death anxiety is rooted in basic survival mechanics, right?
Yeah.
It's the organism's aversion to pain and the cessation of biological function. It's just biology.
Like a squirrel running from a car.
Exactly. But oblivion is something entirely different. Oblivion is the erasure of the subjective universe.
The erasure of the subjective universe. Okay, break down how the brain interprets that.
So think about the sheer density of your internal world.
Okay.
Every memory you hold, your highly specific sense of humor, the way you interpret like a certain chord progression in a song.
Right, the things that make you, you.
Exactly. The accumulated synthesis of every book you've ever read, the quiet inside jokes you have with yourself.
Yeah, I have a lot of those.
Right. And that entire incredibly complex reality only exists within the neural architecture of your specific brain.
Nowhere else.
Nowhere else. So the concept of oblivion is the realization that this entire universe will not just end, but will vanish so completely that it will be as if it never existed in the first place.
Wow, that is heavy.
It is. The terror comes from the ego confronting absolute zero.
Absolute zero.
Right, because the brain is a prediction engine, right? It can simulate almost anything. It can simulate flying, it can simulate being rich, it can simulate physical pain.
Sure, we do it all the time when we daydream or worry.
Exactly. But it cannot simulate its own non-existence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when it tries, it just hits a wall of static. And the resulting emotional output from that crash is profound terror.
So it's not just the fear that the movie ends, it's like the fear that the film reel is burned.
Yes.
The theater is demolished, and the very concept of cinema is wiped from the universe entirely.
That is a perfect analogy.
And the universe just keeps humming along, completely indifferent to the fact that you were ever sitting in the theater.
And that indifference, that is the crucial element here.
Why is the indifference so terrifying to us, though?
Well, from an evolutionary psychology standpoint, we evolved in tight-knit tribes.
Right.
Where being remembered and being valued by the collective was literally a matter of life and death.
Like if they forget you, you don't eat.
Exactly. If you were forgotten by the tribe, if your contributions weren't noted, you were left behind in the snow.
Oh, wow.
So we have this deep-seated neurological wiring that equates being remembered with survival.
That makes so much sense.
Right. Fast forward to modern consciousness, and we project that tribal survival instinct onto the cosmos itself.
So we treat the universe like it's our tribe.
Yes. We feel that if the universe doesn't remember us, our existence was somehow invalid.
Which explains why this isn't just like a late-night philosophical dorm room conversation.
No, not at all.
Because if we are walking around with this primitive hardware that screams, you must be remembered to survive, that's going to bleed into our mundane, everyday behaviors.
It drives almost everything you do.
Really?
Oh, especially for high-achieving, curious people like our listener. It is a highly active, aggressive driver of daily anxiety.
Okay, give me a tangible example of how this terror of oblivion manifests on, say, a random Tuesday. Because most people aren't sitting at their desks consciously thinking about the void.
No, of course not. They aren't thinking about the void consciously, but they are managing the dread of it subconsciously.
Yeah, how so?
Look at the modern obsession with productivity and optimization.
Oh, yeah. The constant hustle.
Right. Why do we feel a sharp spike of guilt if we spend a Saturday doing absolutely nothing?
Good question. I feel that all the time.
Or why do we obsess over how our peers perceive our career trajectories? Why is there a relentless pressure to post our achievements or our travels or our thoughts online?
We just want people to see us.
We frame it as ambition or networking, sure. But fundamentally, it is a mechanism of proof.
Proof of existence, like the initials in the cement.
Yes, exactly like the cement. We are trying to generate a paper trail for the universe.
Ah.
We think, if I send this email at 11 p.m., if I hit this quarterly goal, if I write this profound essay, then I am solidifying my reality.
I am creating an anchor.
Yes, an anchor. The terror of oblivion fuels a frantic, exhausting need to constantly justify our own existence through output.
It's like we're constantly taking our own pulse, but instead of checking our veins, we're checking our resumes, our creative output, our social standing.
That is exactly what we are doing.
Oh, just keep checking and checking.
And this brings us directly to the friction that the source material highlights.
The friction.
Right. We use these actions, building a career, creating art, amassing wealth or influence, as an attempt to leave a permanent mark. We want to etch something into reality that says, I was here.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let me push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
Because I think a lot of people listening are going to hit a wall right about here.
Okay.
I'm putting myself in the shoes of someone deeply invested in contributing to the world, right?
Sure.
Isn't wanting to leave a mark the engine of human progress.
That's a very common defense, yeah.
I mean, we have antibiotics, we have the pyramids, we have the works of Shakespeare, we have the civil rights movement.
Absolutely.
And all of that happened because humans wanted to reach beyond their immediate biological lifespan and shape the future.
Right.
So if we strip away the desire to leave a legacy, don't we just collapse into apathy? Why does the focus state that most of our anxiety comes from this exact drive?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, That is the pivotal distinction we have to make.
Okay, clarify that for me.
The source material is not condemning the act of creation,
Right.
or the pursuit of justice, or the building of a society. The action itself is not the villain.
Then what is?
The villain, the actual mechanism that generates the crushing anxiety, is the psychological attachment to the permanence of that mark,
The attachment to the permanence.
combined with a fundamental misunderstanding of the environment we are trying to leave it in.
A misunderstanding of the environment, meaning the world itself.
Right. Let's look at the central thesis here. Most of our anxiety comes from trying to leave a mark on a world that is constantly changing.
Ah,
A world that
Okay.
is constantly changing.
exactly. The anxiety is born from a mathematical mismatch. How do you mean?
You are taking a static concept, your legacy, your specific impact, your frozen image of who you are, and you are trying to force it onto a system that is governed by the laws of constant, unrelenting entropy and change.
Wow. It's the paradox of trying to freeze a river.
Yes.
You can build a dam, you can throw in ice, but the fundamental nature of the water is to flow.
And if your entire sense of self-worth is tied to the river staying completely still, you are going to spend every second of your life in a state of absolute panic.
Because it's impossible.
Completely impossible. Think about the analogy of trying to build a heavy, intricate stone castle.
Okay.
You want this castle to stand for 1,000 years as a monument to your existence.
Right, your legacy.
So you meticulously carve the stones, you sacrifice your time, your health, your relationships, just to build the walls higher and higher. But you're building this heavy, static structure on a foundation that is entirely liquid.
Oh, man. So the ground is shifting under the castle while we are still laying the bricks.
Exactly. Culturally, linguistically, physically, the context of the world changes so rapidly.
It really does.
The language we are speaking right now, it will be unrecognizable or dead in a few thousand years.
That's a wild thought.
The cultural values we champion today might be viewed completely differently by future generations.
Right. History is always rewriting itself.
The physical infrastructure we build crumbles, or it gets paved over. A mark left today loses its context tomorrow.
That makes me think about the digital age.
Oh, the digital age is the perfect example.
Right. Because it seems like it should solve this problem, but it actually makes it infinitely worse.
How so?
Well, we have more tools than ever to leave a mark. We can record a video, upload it to a server, and theoretically it exists forever.
Forever, in air quotes, yeah?
Exactly. Because the digital landscape is changing so fast that it's essentially a boiling ocean.
A boiling ocean, I like that.
You throw a stone in, and not only does it sink, but the surface of the water immediately violently churns over it.
The digital age absolutely amplifies the anxiety. It provides the illusion of permanence while completely accelerating the rate of change.
We think we're immortalizing ourselves.
We are tricked into thinking our tweets or our digital portfolios are immortal. But the platform algorithms change, the companies go bankrupt, the servers migrate.
And the cultural relevance decays in a matter of hours.
Exactly. So the anxiety isn't about the failure to build something good. The anxiety is the exhaustion of curation.
The exhaustion of curation. Wow. We are basically acting as the museum directors of our own lives.
And you are directing a museum that is located directly on a fault line.
Oh, that sounds stressful.
Extremely. If your core motivation is to ensure your mark survives, your work is never done.
You can't ever rest.
Never. You can never step back and actually enjoy the art you created because you are too busy aggressively defending it against the shifting tides of culture and time.
You are just bailing water out of a sinking boat. Forever.
Forever.
So the anxiety isn't a bug. It's the logical result of playing a game with flawed rules. If you demand permanence from an impermanent universe, the universe is going to break your heart every single time.
It is an unwinnable psychological battle.
Yeah.
Which is why the anxiety feels so pervasive to you, the listener. It's that tight feeling in your chest when a project doesn't get the recognition you thought it deserved.
Or when you realize someone younger is achieving what you wanted to achieve.
Right. It's all rooted in the terror that your mark isn't deep enough to withstand the changing world.
So what does this all mean? Let's pivot to the resolution here, because if we leave it there, we are just plunging everyone into a deep existential crisis.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
No. But the thematic focus of our source material offers an antidote to this unwinnable battle.
A very powerful antidote.
It suggests that the answer isn't to build a better castle or to find a more solid foundation?
Right.
The answer is finding the freedom in your own insignificance. And I have to admit, when you first hear that word insignificance, it really stings.
It violates the ego deeply.
It feels like a direct insult.
It does.
Because we spend our whole lives being told by motivational speakers and just cultural narratives in general that we are destined for greatness.
That you have to change the world.
Exactly. That our lives are incredibly significant.
Right.
So to have someone say, hey, just so you know, in the grand scheme of the cosmos, you are completely insignificant, it feels like a slap in the face.
It feels offensive because we conflate the word insignificant with worthless.
Oh, interesting distinction.
We assume that if something doesn't have a massive lasting impact on the macro level of reality, it has no value on the micro level.
But that's not true.
Not at all. The philosophical frameworks we can apply here, whether it is elements of stoicism or absurdism, they teach us to separate the scale of an event from the value of the experience.
This raises an important question then. Break that separation down for me. How do we extract the insult from the idea of being insignificant?
You have to look at insignificance not as a judgment of your character,
Okay.
but as a mathematical reality of time and space.
Mathematical reality?
The universe is billions of years old, and it is unfathomably large.
Yeah, too big to even picture.
The fact that your lifespan is a microsecond on the cosmic clock, and your physical reach is limited to a tiny rock hurtling through space, is just a structural fact.
It's just the way it is.
Right. The suffering comes from fighting that fact. The freedom comes from accepting it.
So it's like realizing you've been carrying this massive lead-lined backpack your entire life. You thought the backpack was your identity, your legacy, your value to society. It's incredibly heavy. It's giving you back spasms. You're exhausted. But you won't take it off because you think the weight is what makes you important.
That's a great way to put it.
And the concept of insignificance is someone coming along and telling you, hey, that backpack is completely empty. It doesn't do anything. You can just drop it.
Dropping the backpack is the perfect way to visualize it. Because what happens the moment you drop it?
You feel a massive sense of relief.
You realize that your insignificance is actually a profound, radical permission slip.
A permission slip for what exactly?
Permission to experience life instrumentally rather than transactionally.
Instrumentally rather than transactionally. Okay, explain that.
Let's look at how we normally operate. Because we are terrified of oblivion, we treat the present moment merely as a tool to secure a future legacy. We study not just for the joy of learning, but to get the degree, to get the job, to get the recognition, to solidify the legacy.
Right, it's all a stepping stone.
We treat our current experiences as a down payment on being remembered.
Wow. We're sacrificing the only thing we actually have, the present moment, to buy insurance against a future we won't even be around to experience.
Precisely. We mortgage our present joy for future permanence.
That sounds miserable when you say it out loud.
It is. But if you accept your cosmic insignificance, if you truly internalize that 10,000 years from now, it genuinely will not matter what title you held or how many people read your book.
The mortgage is canceled.
Exactly. You are off the hook. The universe does not require you to hold it together or to leave a permanent dent in it.
I can feel the listeners' gears turning right now, though.
I'm sure they are.
Because the natural follow-up question is, if it doesn't matter, why do anything?
The nihilism trap.
Right. If my art or my work or my relationships are ultimately insignificant to the universe, why should I care about them?
Because you are not the universe.
Okay.
You are a localized, conscious being experiencing a highly specific sliver of time.
Right.
The value of an action is not determined by how long it echoes in eternity.
Then what determines it?
The value is determined by the quality of the experience in the moment it happens.
Give me an analogy to make that concrete. How do we value something that we know won't last?
Okay, think about attending an incredible live concert.
Love a good concert.
You are in the crowd, the music is washing over you, you are singing along with your friends.
Best feeling in the world.
It is a transcendent experience, but you know for an absolute fact that the concert is going to end in 2 hours. You know, the band will pack up, the arena will empty out, and eventually everyone who was ever in that room will pass away. And the memory of that specific Tuesday night will be lost to time entirely. Does the fact that the concert is temporary make the music sound any less beautiful in the moment you're hearing it?
Oh, no, of course not.
Right.
If anything, knowing it's going to end makes you pay more attention. You want to soak it up precisely because it's ephemeral.
Exactly. The impermanence is the feature that gives it urgency and beauty.
That completely flips the perspective.
When you embrace your insignificance, you start treating your life, your work, and your learning like that concert.
Wow.
You read a difficult book, not so you can sound smart at a dinner party 10 years from now, but because the friction of the ideas against your brain feels thrilling right now.
Yeah.
You build a company or create art because the process of solving the puzzle is deeply engaging.
You help a neighbor because the connection warms your chest today.
Yes, you decouple the action from the legacy.
You do the thing for the sheer joy and inherent dignity of the doing.
And when you make that shift, that baseline anxiety we talked about earlier, it begins to evaporate.
Because you aren't fighting the tide anymore.
You stop fighting the changing world and you start dancing with it.
Yeah.
You aren't trying to build a stone castle on a liquid foundation anymore. You realize you're just swimming in the ocean, and swimming is enjoyable.
It reminds me of the overview effect that astronauts talk about.
It's a perfect connection.
Right. They go to space, they look back at Earth, and they see this tiny, fragile blue dot suspended in a terrifyingly massive void. And instead of feeling despair at how small they are, they almost universally report a feeling of overwhelming cognitive shift.
A feeling of peace.
Yeah, intense peace, and a sudden clarity about how petty our daily anxieties are.
That is the exact psychological mechanism at play here.
Really?
Yes. Experiencing your own smallness contextualizes your problems.
How so?
If you believe you are deeply significant, then every mistake you make is a cosmic catastrophe.
Right, because the stakes are infinitely high.
Exactly. But if you are insignificant, then your mistakes are just data points in a learning process.
You are free to fail.
You are free to fail.
Yeah.
You are free to experiment. You are free to change your mind, to abandon old projects, to reinvent yourself entirely.
Because there is no permanent historical record-keeping score of your consistency.
Exactly.
That is incredibly liberating. It really takes the pressure off you, the listener, right now, who might feel like you're falling behind on some imaginary timeline of success.
There's no timeline.
The universe isn't keeping a ledger of your accomplishments.
No, it isn't. The only ledger that matters is your own subjective experience of your days.
Are you engaged?
Are you curious?
Are you kind?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those things matter deeply on the micro scale of human interaction, even if they vanish on the macro scale of cosmic time.
I want to tie this all together because we've traveled a vast psychological distance today.
We really have.
We started by looking straight into the void. We analyzed this primal evolutionary terror of oblivion, the brain's sheer inability to process the erasure of its own subjective universe.
Right. And we observed how that terror forces us to constantly try and generate proof of our reality.
We hustle, we curate, we try to etch our names into the bedrock of society to ensure we aren't forgotten, like writing in wet cement.
But then we found the trap, the anxiety trap.
Yeah. We realized that we are trying to leave a permanent mark on a world that is fundamentally defined by constant change.
We are exhausting ourselves trying to freeze a river.
And the way out of the trap isn't to fight harder. It's to surrender the need for permanence entirely.
To find the profound freedom in our own cosmic insignificance.
To realize that because our actions don't have to carry the impossible weight of eternity, we are finally free to just enjoy the weightless experience of the present moment.
It's dropping the heavy backpack. It's realizing the concert is beautiful because it ends.
So for you listening, the next time you feel that familiar spike of anxiety,
And you will feel it.
oh, absolutely. The pressure that you aren't doing enough, that your resume isn't impressive enough, that your legacy isn't secure, I want you to lean into the liquid foundation. Remind yourself that the universe is vast, time is long, and you are delightfully, wonderfully insignificant.
You are off the hook.
You are off the hook, and the energy you save from not worrying about your legacy can be redirected into the sheer joy of your curiosity today.
That is the ultimate takeaway here.
It really is. And as we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you, our listener, with one final practical thought experiment to carry with you this week.
It's a good one.
Think about the projects you are pouring your stress into right now. If you were completely guaranteed by some law of physics, without a shadow of a doubt, that every single memory of you and your accomplishments would be entirely erased exactly 100 years from today,
Completely erased.
what is the one thing you would change about your life tomorrow just for the sheer joy of doing it?
Thanks for spending this time with us on Coffee Break. If this conversation stayed with you, you can find more episodes here on the channel. Until next time, take care.